It is February the 16th, Tuesday, and the boys are riding off a hot-ass fucking Monday for NBA DFS. The player props thing goes according to plan, but man, did yesterday's NBA DFS slate went mwah. We got the value that we needed later on in the day. We nailed the studs earlier in the morning video. Cover boy yesterday was Bradley Beal, and Bradley Beal went off yesterday. It wasn't the highest scorer of the slate, but if you played Bradley Beal yesterday, you definitely cashed yesterday. But let's hop right into today. Today's a short slate, 6-game slate. Going to be playing my cash game lineups, and then we're going to be running the 3 max today also, as well as we usually do. First game of the night is Denver Nuggets versus the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics are 3-point favorites here, 221.5. This game is played at the TD Garden tonight. Both teams are in the first half of a back-to-back here. The Nuggets injury report is looking like Will Barton, Paul Millsap, Gary Harris, PJ Dozier all out, and Monte Morris is questionable. For the Denver Nuggets, man, one of my favorite teams of the slate so far, Nikolai Jokic starting it off. Cover boy right off the bat, $10,600 and $10,700. His usage rating jumps to 37.5%. Once you take all those players off the floor, and averages over a fantasy point per minute, obviously, is Jokic. And he's one of my favorite studs of the slates. I'm going to be meeting a lot of Jokic, especially over here on FanDuel, where you're forced to play only one center. There are some pretty interesting center options on the slate. As you can see right now, the website that I have pulled up here is dailyfantasyfuel.com. It's a free projection website. It's pretty good if you're just getting an idea of what the slate is. I don't think it's as good as like Fantasy Cruncher and stuff like that. But if you are just looking for a free optimizer just to get a cash game lineup in, or a 3 max, I think this is a pretty good website. You can plug in your own projections as well. It's one of my favorite things about it. But as I digress a little bit more, Michael Porter Jr., also one of my favorite plays of the slate as well at the small forward position. The team has no other choice besides play him a bunch of minutes today, man. Will Barton is going to be out today, so that really secures Michael Porter Jr.'s minutes. My only concern would be his defense, real life-wise. Man, he does not play defense. So I could definitely see him struggling in a matchup today with Tatum and Brown. But I don't think the Denver Nuggets have any other choice besides play Michael Porter Jr. a bunch of minutes today, even on the first half of a back-to-back. The back-to-back kind of has me concerned about Jamal Murray a little bit. I think his price tag is way too cheap over there on FanDuel today. $6,500, very cheap price tag. Over there on DK, $7,200, so it doesn't pop up as much. But I think he's a good game stack option for this game. I think he'll go overlooked today at the point guard position, especially on these 6-game slates. You kind of want to get to these low-owned plays that kind of go overlooked. But one of my favorite value plays of the day, one of my core cash game pieces today, is definitely going to be JaMychal Green. JaMychal Green gets the start today without Paul Millsap. JaMychal Green is absolutely going to crush in this spot today. His DK price tag isn't too high either. His DK price tag is $4,300, and then his FanDuel price tag is $4,400. One of my favorite value plays of the day is going to be JaMychal Green. So first game of the day, man, is one of the most important games of the day. Also, one of the sneaky value plays, if Monte Morris were to miss Capazzo, I can't even say his first name. It's like Francudo Capazzo. He's coming off a career high in points. He could get the backup point guard minutes here, and I think he could be he could return a lot of value at that $3,500 price tag on FanDuel, and then $3,300 on DK today. You're going to have to get different if you're going to want to win a slate today. Celtics injury report, Marcus Smart's out, Daniel Tice questionable. Only 2 guys that I really like from this team is Jaylen Brown and Kemba Walker. I feel like Jaylen Brown's a little bit too cheap on DK today, $7,800 compared to his $8,400 DK price tag. The knee injury kind of took me off of him last week, and that's the reason why I think his DK price tag came down. But I think this is a good matchup for him and a good run back spot for the Celtics. The only thing is both teams are in the first half of the back-to-back, so you don't really know what to really do there. And I feel like a lot of teams on this slate are on the first half of a back-to-back, so not too much concerning. But Kemba Walker, he showed a ceiling last time against the Washington Wizards, but the Celtics play the Hawks tomorrow, and I think that's a little bit more of a favorable matchup for Kemba Walker. So if he does play for tomorrow, I would definitely have more interest for Kemba for tomorrow than today. That's kind of how I'm kind of look at the Boston Celtics for today. I kind of like their matchup against the Atlanta Hawks tomorrow. I think this is a good spot for the Nuggets, though, because they're down so many men. Let's hit the chat up real quick, see what the chat's popping up with. What up, Big Show Picks? Shouts to Big Show Picks. Did the background and everything. Make sure you follow him over on Pub Sports Radio's Twitch page. And then we got the Milkman. He says Jokic for MVP. Yeah, it's really coming down to him and Embiid. And I got some other ancillary guys, but I really think it comes down to him and Embiid this year. Porter needs to shoot the lights out to have a 30-piece. Yeah, but man, without Will Barton in there, Gary Harris, and Paul Millsap, like that's like all the wing rotation plays right there. Michael Porter Jr. is definitely going to have to play a lot of minutes regardless of what he does real life wise. So I kind of like playing those plays because they have a lot of outs. Next game that we're going to talk about here is this Minnesota versus LA Lakers. LA Lakers 7.5 point favorites. Over under here is 225.5. Timberwolves injury reports looking like D. Russ and Jarrett Culver are out. Only person I would really play from this team is really off the radar. Jordan McLaughlin, $3,500, $3,700 on DK today. He was supposed to get sent to the G. I kind of like this narrative before I start saying this. He was supposed to get sent to the G League bubble. For the people that don't know, the G League this year is played in the bubble. They're all quarantining like if it was over the summer. So he was supposed to get sent to the bubble, but that D-Russ injury happened like a couple of days before they had to make the bubble assignments. And he ended up getting called back up to the main roster. And the only reason why he plays on this team is to be the backup point guard for Ricky Rubio right now. And if this game does blow out, I really do like Jordan McLaughlin a lot. On the LA Lakers side, big news here. Anthony Davis is out for a couple of weeks, and Alex Caruso is going to be out also as well. So that really bumps up LeBron James, one of my favorite stud plays on the slate right behind Jokic. His usage rating goes up enough to make him in play regardless of what the spread is looking like for today. Going down a little bit more, Dennis Schroeder, he's been very concerning point category-wise. He's been kind of cold, but I think this is a good buy low window spot for him. He draws a good matchup against the Timberwolves, a team that I'm not really high on this year. I think it's honestly one of the worst teams in the league with our Anthony Towns. Also, Kyle Kuzma, he should get the start. Way better FanDuel play than DK play. On DK, he's $7,000, way too expensive of a price tag. But over there on FanDuel, $5,800 seems a little bit more reasonable for GPPs. With AD missing, I think he gets the biggest bump up in usage rating and all that stuff. Biggest beneficiary behind LeBron James and Dennis Schroeder. Also, Talen Horton-Tucker. Tongue twister, $4,300 and $3,800. He's going to be the key distributor off the bench for this team. I love the spot for him tonight. Gets a good pace-up matchup against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Lakers could blow this team out even without Anthony Davis, to be honest with you. And then the next game here is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Pick 'em. No favorites in the spreads from Vegas. Over-under here is 230.5. Pretty high over-under considering these two teams. And both teams on the first half of a back-to-back also as well. For the Grizzlies, man, I really don't want to play anybody from the Grizzlies. But if I was forced to, gun in my head, I'll probably pick Dillon Brooks and Kyle Anderson. I'm a fan of Dillon Brooks, especially when these point totals are so high. That really kind of helps out the Grizzlies a lot with kind of like identifying who their scores are going to be. Why is that point total so high? Is it going to be John Morant scoring a lot? Is it going to be Brooks? Is it going to be Valanciunas? But I really think that most of the usage is going to come from Brooks and Anderson. Kyle Anderson contributes in all categories, man. I've kind of like playing the plays that are bust proof kind of, and bust proof meaning they contribute in all categories and they don't rely on scoring for their fantasy points. Let's check the chat real quick before we head over to this next game. What up, Mark the Uncapper? Looking down a little bit. Big Show says, bet the Heat last night, lost again. I just can't make money off of them. Dude, who are you telling, man? During the Connor and Ski and Bambano show, I saw Ski bet on the Heat immediately as soon as that Kawhi news came in, and I just bang, threw a unit on the Heat, put them in a parlay with the Warriors, and they absolutely burned me. If the Heat win yesterday's day turns out to be like 10 times better, but we got a pretty good day. DFS really saved out yesterday for the most part because, man, the Heat burned me too, man. It just feels like a team that I can never get right when it comes to betting-wise. Yeah, slow-mo. One of my favorite plays of the day at the small forward position. There's really not a lot of good small forward plays today. That's why I like LeBron so much. Next game here is Portland. Their 6-point favorites are the OKC Thunder. Over under here is 225.5. Both teams on the first half of a back-to-back. It's kind of like the theme of today's slate. Blazers injury report is going to be CJ Nurkic, Hood, Giles all out today. So that really pops up Enes Kanter. Giles being out increases his minute safety even more than what it already was. And he has scored double-digit points in 10 of his last 11 games. So I think his double-double upside is very safe. If you're not playing Jokic, I definitely can see myself playing Kanter. Those are going to be the two center plays that I'm really going to get a lot of on FanDuel today, since you only have to play one center. And then if you're playing old DK, you can even play them both if you need to go there and use both of your utility positions and your center position for a center. Going down a little bit more, I do like Damian Lillard. He scored 29 points in 4 of his last 5 games since missing that Philly game a couple weeks ago. He should have one of the highest workloads on this slate, especially without CJ McCollum, as usual. Gary Trent Jr. also as well. I really think Gary Trent Jr. draws a good matchup here. I don't think a lot of people are going to talk about him too much, but I think if the Blazers win by a lot, he'll be a part of that scoring and the reason why they won by a lot. And if they get blown out, surprisingly, by the Thunder, who have been playing pretty up the competition of recent, they beat the Bucks the other day on their home floor. And this game is in OKC. But as I digress a little bit, I think Gary Trent will get the blowout minutes also as well. So he has many outs to that $5,800 price tag and $5,700 price tag over there on DK. Anthony Simons also as well, $4,100 could be a pretty interesting play considering there's no Rodney Hood. Anthony Simons is definitely going to have to run the second bench usage a lot, being the main ball handler on the second string. Thunder injury report, SGA, Maladon, Ariza, and George Hill all out. So that really pops up a guy like Hamidou Diallo, $6,000. His price tag came down a little bit, and $6,700 over there on DK. He should be the biggest beneficiary without SGA. And I would even say that he has triple-double upside in this spot. Like Friday, not Friday, but he's way too cheap for the role that he's playing, man. He's getting like double-doubles off of rebounds. He got a double-double the other time that I played him, and it was off of rebounds and assists, not even points. So that's the reason why I say he has triple-double upside, and he's one of my favorite plays of the day at the point guard position. I'm going to definitely try to work him in a little bit more. Going down to the OKC Thunder, I like Heinrich Williams a little bit too as well. He should remain in the starting 5. He contributes in all the categories. Like Friday, he led the team in rebounds and assists. And Lou Dort also as well. I'm going to plug him into my player pool today. $5,400 on DK and $5,000 on FD today. He's an inconsistent shooter, but I think he'll be active on both ends of the floor today, and he'll get some ball handling responsibilities. Definitely worth the GPP shot. Good game environment for Lou Dort. I feel like with Lou Dort, he's a good player, but in the projection system, he pops up every day because of the price tag, but you have to pick and choose the good game environments. And I think today's a good game environment against the Blazers. They have some scrappy guards. He's a scrappy guard. He's going to definitely want to make a statement. Lou Dort, one of my favorite GPP plays if you're looking to stack this game, but one of my favorite actual games of the day where I'm probably going to get most of my ownership from stub-wise is going to be this Toronto and Milwaukee game. Milwaukee's 5.5-point favors. Over under is 235, which is the highest total of the whole entire slate by a wide margin. Besides the Brooklyn Nets and Phoenix game, I forgot to note about that one. That's the game that we'll talk about at the end before we get on out of here. But on the Toronto side, shockingly, I don't want to play Kyle Lowry too much because he's been dealing with these back spasms, and his numbers have really came down the last week because of it. But Fred VanVleet is the guy that I really want to pay up for on this team. $7,500 and $8,200 over there on DK. He's been averaging a career high in scoring, rebounds, and three-point shots, and I think he gets the best matchup in a high-paced game against the Milwaukee Bucks, who really don't defend too much, let up a lot of threes, and I think Fred VanVleet can go absolutely off in this game. And I don't think people want to play the Raptors, man. People don't want to pay $7,500 for Fred VanVleet, and I think he's one of the best plays of the day, in my personal opinion. But that's for the studs, though, not for the value plays. But the Bucks injury report, Drew Holiday still out. Chris Middleton during this 3-game stretch without Drew Holiday's averaged 19 points, 6 assists, 3.5 rebounds per game. Better point per dollar play than Giannis, in my personal opinion. I think you can get to both. But, man, $7,500 feels a little bit too cheap for Chris Middleton today. Giannis, during this 3-game stretch without Drew Holiday, he's been averaging 33 points per game, 14.3 rebounds per game, 7 assists per game, 2.0 steals per game, and 1.7 blocks per game. So just contributing in all categories, playing that MVP Giannis level. One of my favorite GPP stud plays of the day. One of the biggest questions of today's slate is really going to come down to, am I going to play Giannis or am I going to play Jokic early on today? Also going down a little bit more, I can see myself playing Brook Lopez. He has up and down sporadic games, but he makes himself for a good game stack scenario. And Toronto's been kind of getting crushed by the big man position. One thing that I wanted to note right off the top of my head was that game last week against the Wizards where Alex Len and Robin Lopez both went off against them. Kept that in the back of my head. Also, Bobby Portis, he's been crushing off the bench. Real life-wise, I could see him and Chris Boucher coming off the bench and really just going at it with each other throughout the whole entire game. Bobby Portis, $4,900 and $5,100 for GPPs. Obviously, as a long shot play in this game, I do like Bobby Portis. He's been pretty productive. And the last game of the night that we're going to cover is the Brooklyn Nets versus the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns 4.5-point favorites over the Brooklyn Nets. Over under here is 231.5. One of the highest over unders of the day, second to that Bucks Toronto game. I was honestly shocked this wasn't the highest over under of the day. I feel like anytime the Nets are on the slate, they get the highest over under. But I don't think any ownership is going to come from this team. A lot of people are going to want to crush the spots earlier in the slate, and nobody wants to wait around until 10 o'clock at night to play certain plays. Like one play that I got onto yesterday throughout the afternoon was Chetty Osman, for example, on FanDuel. $3,800. My man got the start so late in the day. People didn't want to backload their rosters. I think if you're running like a 3-max team, you should run a roster that features the studs in the early games, the studs in the night games, and then your cash lineup as the last lineup out of your 3-max. That's kind of like my strategy, and it's been absolutely crushing for me so far since I employed it a couple weeks ago. And I'm looking to do the same exact thing here. And then the night slate is really going to feature one of Kyrie Irving or James Harden. I played both of them in the same exact lineup yesterday in GPPs. Kind of wish I got the Ben Simmons a little bit more, man. Man, that's probably the only regret that I have from yesterday is playing De'Aaron Fox and Kyrie Irving over Ben Simmons as a late swap to them. It was so tilting, but other than that, it was a pretty good day. I think though, this team is on the second half of a back-to-back, so that kind of really throws people off. People don't want to pay $11,000 for James Harden, but he's been absolutely smashing that price tag, man. And for the Suns here, before we get on out of here, the 3 guys that I really like from the Phoenix Suns are Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, and Chris Paul. I kind of want to get the Booker, but Booker doesn't contribute in enough categories for me to play him on this slate. There's going to be a lot of high-priced players. Like, I'd so rather play Chris Middleton than Devin Booker tonight. But I could definitely see myself playing some Mikal Bridges at a poor small forward position, DeAndre Ayton at a poor center position, and then Chris Paul as a GPP flyer. But before I head on out of here, let's see what the optimizer has to pop-ups up for today so we can get an idea of what the median baseline is looking like for today. This lineup has Kanter, Giannis, JaMychal Green, Porter, Middleton, Dort, Forbes, Diallo, Lillard. This one kind of has like the same variation. Probably wouldn't want to play this one, not on Eric Bledsoe today. But I like the Fred VanVleet play there. Yeah, man, it's crazy that Jokic isn't popping up in the first run of optimizer things. I guess that's how good of a play Kanter is. But I really like Jokic today. That usage rating is going to be through the roof, man. I think he has the highest, before I did this video, he had the highest usage rating on the whole entire slate. Yeah, some of these kind of look a little bit lower in total. But yeah, man, on this slate, man, you can do a lot of different things on this slate. I think this is going to be a pretty fun slate. There's going to be some chalk players, and I think the diversity of chalk that you'll get on this slate is definitely going to make it fun. Even as a 6-game slate, you're going to get a lot of good GPP lineups out of today. But before I head on out of here, go down to the rabbit. I tweeted the rabbit hole. Yeah, big show. I'll check that out as soon as I end this video. But Shy or PG says Sam. PG-13. I'm not a big Shy guy. I know some people that are really high on the Thunder and Shy. I think he's a good basketball player, but I think PG-13 is just a different level of player, but he just has to be Batman to somebody's Robin, if that makes sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? He has to be Robin to Batman. He can't be the main guy, as we saw that on the Pacers throughout the years. That Pacers team never really hit their full true ceiling. Before I head on out of here, though, make sure you head over to pubsportsradio.com, visit our shop. You can get these t-shirts. Still think I'm wearing my Phillies Finest shirt. Phillies Finest t-shirt in the shop. Also, if you're looking for a book, use mybookie.ag promo code PubSports for a 50% bonus on your cash deposit. Must be a minimum of $99 and 100% bonus on Bitcoin deposit, minimum of $100. And make sure you head over to Manscaped.com and enter promo code PubSports to get 20% off, free shipping on your Manscaped order. Just because it's not Valentine's Day anymore doesn't mean you're supposed to have a bush. Make sure you cut that bush down. Head over to Manscaped.com and use that promo code PubSports. And have a good, safe, blessed day. Make sure you follow me over on Twitter at Getting Bills. I will be tweeting out my player prop plays later on today. We are looking to improve on that 1-3 mark of yesterday for player props. But, man, we're going to absolutely crush today. I have a good feeling about today. There's a lot of good plays. Some injury news are going to even make this slate even juicier. I kind of like waiting to the late afternoon, to the latest possible moment to do these player props. Just with these COVID health protocol stuff is just absolutely absurd. But I'm about to head on out of here. Have a great, safe, blessed Tuesday.